No, Elena doesn't really know. I mean, she knows that he did have a bad past and a darker side. But like anyone, everyone has a dark side, and everyone has the good and bad within them. So she sort of dismissed it, I guess, if you will. And now in episode 303, she starts to learn about his past and learn about what kind of person he was and his lifestyle choices. And I'm going to tell you now, they weren't good.
Lifestyle choices. Sounds very bad.
Not good. And it's kind of scary, but she's also sort of in denial, and she doesn't, as much as she hears it and finds out about it, she doesn't want to accept it. And it's like there's a wall. Like, some of it comes through, but she filters what she wants to hear and what she doesn't want to hear.
This is actually my favorite set. This set takes a turn because this is actually the present day set of the Speakeasy.
Swanky.
Yeah, so we get to, there's a flashback, but when we see this set, this is not as modernized.
No?
This is the modernized 2011 version of the Speakeasy.
So after tons and tons of flashbacks to Stefan in 1864, we're going to see him in the 1920s now.
Roaring 20s.
Have a new swagger to him?
Absolutely. Completely. 1860s Stefan and 1920s Stefan are completely different, because 1860s Stefan is much younger, you know. 1920s Stefan is mathematics, 60 years older. So, you know, it's going to be interesting because he has 60 years of choices that he could have made, and he chooses to go to the Ripper side. So it's a much more sophisticated Ripper.
We know
much more debonair.
Ooh, fancy. We know that he was the Ripper. We know that he massacred villages. Are there still more secrets from Stefan's past to be discovered here?
For sure. I mean, I think that every episode that flashes back reveals something. And the 1920s episode is no different. I'm not going to reveal them right now to you, Karina.
What?
You know,
I'm so close.
Right We're
there.
so close, but see that red blinking light? When that goes off,
maybe later.
Maybe I'll tell you something.
How does Catherine fit into the 1920s? I imagine that she would enjoy that era quite a bit.
I love the 1920s as Nina Dobrev. It's my favorite era of all time. And getting to come to the set and watch everyone in their costumes and the way the set transformed, it's just absolutely stunning and so much fun. And I refuse to give you a spoiler as to whether or not I actually participated in the 20s, but
I wasn't even trying to get you to do that.
But I definitely came and saw the set at one point or another, whether I was acting in it or whether I was just spectating it.
Just stalking quietly in the corner.
Stalking quietly in the corner.
Kevin has been singing your praises all over town for this season.
Is that right?
Yep.
I paid him off.
Is this your favorite season so far?
Oh yeah, hands down. I knew it would be, not to be, you know, presumptuous, but I mean, it was just kind of like, I mean, my favorite, it's so kind of different, like, you know, so black and white, you know, it's like, there's things that I love so much about season 1, season 2, there's scenes that are just like monumentally important to me, you know, but as far as the sheer enjoyment level, selfishly, yeah.
You've been waiting for this stuff for a long time.
Although I will say this, and I have to forewarn audiences and viewers, you know, it's a journey. It's not like we're just going to find Stefan and he's like, you know, just this entirely, you know, swanky, debonair, no remembrance of his losses, his old self. Like he's kind of fighting demons still. So there is, you know, darkness enveloping him for a little bit.
There's still that Stefan guilt.
A little bit, but you know, it sort of starts fading as the episodes continue.
The first time I ever interviewed you, we were talking so much about like Stefan's virtue and his loyalty, and you were you were like, I'm done with that. I'm over it. Like I want to see Stefan.
No. But every story needs to have a protagonist, but every story's protagonist needs to be multi-layered, and every story's hero needs to have flaw. You know, there's no such thing unless we're watching, you know, a cartoon. You know, it's an archetype. You know, but if it's a functional television series, especially one that is potentially going to go for 6 years, we need to have hills and valleys. You know,
6 years? I need at least twice that many.
I mean, you know, so long my contract is. You know.
What's the most challenging part of this season for you?
You know, getting, I guess it hasn't been the most challenging thing for me, but putting on these new shoes, so to speak, of Stefan, it's different, you know, sort of doing a scene with, you know, the characters that I've used to doing scenes with from episodes 1 and 2. You have sort of a disposition and a certain dynamic with them as actors. So it's interesting for me to approach something differently and look at a character that I've known for 2 years and look at them in a completely different way. For example, with Damon, you know, there's not even remotely intimidated, you know, not even remotely impressed, you know, not scared. It's so funny, you look at season 1 and I'm like, it's like the first time I ever see Damon, I'm like, Damon, you know, and now I'm like, yeah, hey Damon, you know, you, right, whatever. What was that? You know, it's like, it's a much different approach. So challenging, but great.
What about with Elena as everything? I mean, right, I know when we start the season, sort of Stefan and Klaus are out of Mystic Falls, but there's no spin-off, so you kind of assume that you're kind of coming back soon.
Right. Did you just say there's no spin-off? Because we're developing a...
Excuse me, let me get my pen.
A spin-off for Klaus and Stefan, but it's going to be a comedy.
Oh.
It's like The Odd Couple. Klaus will be living in an apartment.
Klaus, if you get blood on the couch again.
Klaus is like, Stefan's the messy one. Klaus is like, pick up your, you know, use a coaster.
Hey, my name is Paul Wesley. I play Stefan on The Vampire Diaries, and I am here to answer your questions. If I could play another character on the show, it would be Sheriff Forbes, because I want to have a gun in my waist. I think Stefan decided to join Klaus at the end of the season because he wanted to save his brother's life and, you know, obviously save Elena's life, which is something that he's been trying to preserve for 2 years, 2 seasons now. I don't know. I mean, I think questionably one can argue that he was enticed by the dark side. Thank you for all your questions. Please watch The Vampire Diaries, Thursdays, 8/7 Central on the CW.